There's been a flurry of lawsuits in recent days, all related to the epic Madoff Ponzi scheme, as the statute of limitations is set to expire. Today, a group of Latin American investors is filing suit against Standard Chartered, accusing the London-based bank and a Miami affiliate of negligence. Joining us now from Miami Beach is attorney Laurence Curran. Mr. Curran represents 25 investors in Madoff-related cases. 14 of them are part of today's new lawsuit, and this is his first media appearance since filing today. Mr. Curran, welcome to Bloomberg Television. Thank you so much for coming on.
Mark, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come on and speak a little bit about our cases and the investor lawsuits against Standard Chartered Bank.
Mr. Curran, specifically, what is the grievance that is being filed here?
Well, the grievances are, and I represent about 25 investors. There's about another 10 investors that have already filed suit, a couple of which are my clients. We filed suit in Miami Federal Court against Standard Chartered Americas, which is the Standard Chartered entity in Miami, as well as the ultimate parent of Standard Chartered Bank, which is Standard Chartered PLC based in London. The grievance is that the bank was negligent and failed to do any due diligence in recommending, very strongly recommending, to probably 1,000 of its clients from across Latin America, as well as Asia and Europe, to invest in the Fairfield Century Fund, which was a dollar hedge fund operated by Fairfield Greenwich Group, which, as you know, is being sued under a large class action called Anwar for about $8 billion in losses. And also some investors invested in the Fairfield Sigma Fund, which was a euro-based fund. And the bank used to be American Express Bank International, which was acquired by Standard Chartered Bank in 2008. They pushed very strongly to all their clients that they get into this fund. We believe that they had a financial incentive to do so because they would get extra fees for doing that.
Yeah, Mr. Curran, there was an interesting angle on this. There was a Colombian man who's accused of helping to persuade many Colombians and other Latin Americans to invest hundreds of millions of dollars. What is that angle to this?
Well, that's right. Andres Pirita from Bogota, Colombia, who has been living in London and elsewhere and made, I think, about $35 or $40 million in 2008 and had a very good year in 2007 before Fairfield Greenwich, collapsed when it heard about Madoff's problems almost 2 years ago to the day. He sold a lot of the investments in the Fairfield Century and Sigma funds directly to people. We do not have a case against him at this time. We've just simply decided to pursue the bank that my clients had a relationship with.
Right.
There are many investors that have joined in to the Anwar class action, who's one of the lead counsels is Boyce, Schiller, and Flexner. And they are pursuing Mr. Piedita, Mr. Noel, Jeffrey Tucker, and other partners in Fairfield Greenwich Group, as well as PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yeah, Mr. Curran, in your opinion, is this a case of common law fraud?
Yeah, we've alleged it's common law fraud, negligence, negligent misrepresentation. It's clearly, I think, it's very straightforward. It's a breach of fiduciary duty.
Where was the alleged fraud, sir, in your opinion?
Well, the fraud was that we believe that the bank should have known that the investment was not what they were saying. They had recommended to their clients that the investment was as good as treasury bonds, very safe, very low risk. And none of the clients or the investors had known before American Express tried to sell them the investment anything about this. This was not where an investor came in to a brokerage and said, I want to buy, Microsoft today or Apple or something like that.
Mr. Curran, might I ask why now? What took so long? Mr. Madoff pleaded guilty almost 2 years ago.
That's a very good question, Mark. What took so long, I did file a first suit for an investor in August 2009, and I filed another lawsuit 3 months ago in September of 2010. But many of these investors are not litigious people. They're business people, they're people of varying amounts of means, and they were very reluctant to be involved in a lawsuit. They've asked, in most cases, the entire time since January of 2009, they've asked the bank for some kind of recompensation. They weren't maybe expecting 100% from the bank, but they were expecting some kind of handholding. And basically, they were put out in the cold by the senior management of the bank in Singapore. Right. It's Standard Chartered.
All right, attorney.
So I guess they had no other real alternative.
Yeah, Mr. Curran, an attorney from Miami representing some of the investors in the Madoff Ponzi scheme. Mr. Curran, thank you so much for coming on today. Your first media appearance with Bloomberg. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it.
Mark, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, coming up, we will turn to tech. We'll have the latest on a company making waves and take a look at its new e-commerce innovation, a technology that's even piquing Google's interest. Bloomberg's Bottom Line.